All right, let's take a tour of our planet's most incredible living systems. We're going to go everywhere, from the tops of the tallest trees in ancient forests all the way down to the darkest depths of the ocean. So, let's dive in.
When you really look at Earth, you realize it's not just one world. It's actually countless different worlds, all existing right next to each other. Each one has its own set of rules, its own cast of characters, and its own unique feel.
It might seem like a really simple question, but what actually makes a rainforest so different from a river or a desert from a grassland? The answer to all of that really hinges on one key idea that's going to guide us through this whole journey.
And that big idea is the ecosystem. The easiest way to think about it is like a giant living machine where everything is connected. You have the living parts, that's the plants and animals, and the non-living parts, like sunlight, water, and even the soil. It's how all those pieces interact that creates these amazing different worlds.
So our first stop is the world of forests. And we're not just talking about a bunch of trees here. No, these are super complex communities that are absolutely essential to the health of our entire planet. They're literally our green lungs.
And the variety you find just within forests is just wow. Down near the equator, you've got tropical rainforests. They get drenched with over 200 centimeters of rain every year, which creates this explosion of dense, layered life. But then you travel up to colder places and you find coniferous forests. These are full of tough evergreens like spruce and pine that have adapted to survive really long, brutal winters. Two totally different worlds, both called forests.
So why should we care so much about forests? Well, besides giving us stuff we use every day, like wood and even medicines, they're also these incredible libraries of genetic diversity. They're huge in regulating our climate, and their roots literally hold the ground together, which helps prevent soil from washing away and even reduces flooding. They really are our planet's life support system. Okay, next up, we're heading out into the vast, wide-open spaces of grasslands and deserts. And out here, the story is all about one single super precious resource, water. So if an area gets somewhere between 25 and 75 centimeters of rain a year, that's kind of the sweet spot for a grassland. It's not quite enough for a dense forest to grow, but it's perfect for creating those iconic, sweeping landscapes of grass we all recognize. But if that yearly rainfall drops below that 25-centimeter mark, everything changes. That scarcity of water is what gives birth to the desert, an ecosystem that's really defined by its extremes. And don't mistake those grasslands for just empty space. No way. They are basically massive engines for agriculture. They're perfectly designed to support all the grazing animals that are so important to us. Cattle, buffalo, sheep, goats, they all rely on these huge ecosystems to thrive. And in the desert, life doesn't just give up, it gets incredibly creative. Deserts are these worlds of extremes, and they force every single living thing to come up with amazing tricks just to survive. I mean, some of these adaptations are just mind-blowing. Take the camel, for example. It's basically evolved to tolerate extreme dehydration on a physical level. It's superpower. Or think about nocturnal rodents that have gotten so good at saving water, thanks to super concentrated urine, that they can live their whole lives without ever needing to take a drink. It's pure genius, just built right into their DNA. Okay, we've trekked across the land. Now, it's time to take a deep dive into a completely different realm, the world of water, which, remember, covers almost 3/4 of our planet. In this aquatic world, there's one simple thing that divides everything: salt. You've got freshwater ecosystems, think rivers and lakes, where the salt content is less than 0.5%. Then you have the marine ecosystems, the oceans, where it's over 3.5%. That one little difference changes absolutely everything for the life within them. And you can kind of group the life in these watery worlds by where they hang out. Right on the surface, you've got the neuston. Clinging to plants and rocks, you find the periphyton. Then you have the plankton, just drifting along with the currents. They're the foundation for almost everything else. The active swimmers, like fish and whales, that's the nekton. And finally, all the critters living way down on the bottom are the benthos. But what happens in that amazing in-between zone, where the fresh water from the river collides with the salt water of the sea? Well, this brings us to one of the most energetic and critical ecosystems on the whole planet. And here's a fact that might actually surprise you. It's not the lush rainforests, and it's not the huge oceans. It's estuaries that are considered the single most productive ecosystems in the entire world. These places are biological powerhouses. So, what is an estuary?
Well, it's that spot where a river's flow slows down to meet the sea. All the nutrient-rich stuff it's been carrying from upstream gets to settle down. And that mix of fresh and salt water, which we call brackish water, it acts like a trap for all those nutrients, creating this rich soup that can support a staggering amount of life. You really can't overstate how important they are. Estuaries are basically the ocean's nurseries. They provide a safe, food-filled haven for so many marine species to spawn and for their young to grow up. The health of the world's fisheries is totally tied to the health of these coastal zones. So as we pull back and look at the big picture, you start to see it, right? The forest, the desert, the ocean, the estuary, none of them are really separate. They're all connected, each one playing its own special part in this incredibly delicate and complex global balance. For thousands, even millions of years, these systems have existed in a perfect balance. And that really brings us to a final and pretty heavy question. As our own world keeps changing, are our actions starting to tip those very delicate scales? It's definitely something to think about.